In 1192, the defeat of the local ruler Prithviraj Chauhan opened the door for a new power to sweep into India, the Delhi Sultanate. This architectural layout of the Qutub Minar complex shows more than a building site. It was a massive political stake in the ground. By dropping these immense stone structures into the landscape, the Sultanate established a permanent presence that could be seen for miles. But the people building those towers lived on borrowed time. This timeline shows the rapid turnover of the 5 dynasties that followed. On average, a ruler survived only 9 years before being violently replaced by the next ambitious general or family member. It brings up a very practical question. When the people right next to you are constantly trying to take your throne, how do you manage to survive even those 9 years? The primary state mechanism here provides the answer. Survival required a massive standing army, kept loyal with a constant stream of wealth. Lacking stable tax bases, they secured funding through continuous military campaigns and the destruction of existing cultural and economic centers. This created a plunder economy, forced into constant motion. Since the state couldn't rely on steady internal growth, it had to keep expanding and raiding its neighbors just to prevent the military from collapsing on itself. This side-by-side comparison shows 2 very different leaders who tried to steer this volatile empire. On the left is the pragmatist, Alauddin Khilji. On the right, the ambitious visionary, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Their different approaches would decide whether the empire expanded or fractured. Khilji faced an immediate, terrifying problem. The massive Mongol Empire was repeatedly crashing against his northern borders. If those defenses failed, the entire sultanate would be erased. This map illustrates Khilji's brutal solution. He sent his military deep into the southern peninsula to strip wealth from rich regional centers. The arrows show the loop. General Malik Kafur sacked wealthy centers like Madurai, funneling plundered resources back to Delhi to pay the northern army. War directly subsidized war. Khilji's strategy was violent, but it fed the plunder economy exactly what it demanded, keeping the Mongols at bay and the Sultanate in power. Muhammad bin Tughlaq took a different path. He aimed to actually manage his vast territory, rather than simply pillaging it. He wanted a centralized state, but his grand plans were consistently crippled by his own mistakes in how he carried them out. This flowchart reveals Tughlaq's disastrous structural projects. First, he forced the entire capital to relocate 1,000 kilometers from Delhi to Daulatabad. Execution was catastrophic, causing thousands of deaths and leaving the north undefended. Next, he introduced copper token currency, decreeing it equal to silver. The idea was progressive, but he introduced it without any protections against forgery. People across the empire quickly realized they could stamp their own copper coins at home. Counterfeiting became so widespread that the currency lost all value, leading to a total economic collapse. Khilji's brutality kept the empire's engine running by feeding it more plunder. Tughlaq tried to change the engine entirely, but his poor logistical execution broke the machine from the inside out. History often follows a simple rule. Intense pressure creates a fierce reaction. The violent expansion from the north didn't just cause suffering, it forced the rest of India to centralize their own power and push back. This section shows the eastern Gangas in Odisha. Under King Narasimhadeva I, they organized their militaries so effectively that they successfully repelled multiple sultanate attacks and defeated Delhi's regional governors. To anchor their territory against future threats, they built the colossal Surya Temple at Konark. By translating their military victories into a massive stone structure, they made sure their resilience would be visible for centuries. In the Deep South, the Hoysalas reacted with a similar martial spirit. Their foundational legend, Hoy, strike Sala, became a rallying cry for a culture that refused to be erased by northern raids. The Hoysalas mirrored this defiance by channeling their resources into incredibly intricate stone temples at Belur and Halibidu. These dense, heavy carvings were symbols of state resilience, projecting a sense of permanence that no raiding party could easily sweep away. This balance scale shows the paradox of the era. On one side, the short-lived regimes of the north were driven by a desperate need to expand. On the other side, That existential threat forced regional kingdoms to unite and project their power through defensive architecture. The arrival of the Sultanate brought violence and volatility. Yet, by forcing regional kingdoms to centralize their resources to survive, that pressure inadvertently created a legacy of spectacular cultural monuments, diamonds forged under the weight of the North.